No pad, no pamper, no cloth. For hundreds of thousands of years, every woman on earth faced this. Every single month. No exception. No escape. No choice. They worked through it. They hunted through it. They survived through it. Whatever ancient women used, it was not what you were thinking. And most of history never bothered to write it down. She walks into frame. She reads those words. Her expression does not change, because this is not shocking to her. This was life. This was every woman's life. Before cotton, before factories, before anyone thought this problem was worth solving. The question is not how they suffered. The question is, how did they survive? Go back 50,000 years. A woman wakes up in a cave, outside, a frozen world. Inside, her body doing exactly what it does now. She has no calendar, no warning system, no preparation. Just the knowledge passed from mother to daughter, generation to generation, in whispers and gestures. Survival information. The most important kind. The first solution was the earth itself. Soft moss pulled from cave walls. Dried leaves folded carefully. Animal hide cut into strips. She did not invent this. Her mother taught her. Her grandmother taught her mother. This knowledge was older than any language, older than any tool, older than any fire humans had ever made. It was the first technology women ever shared. Ancient Egypt. 3,000 years before your great-grandmother was born. The women of the Nile Valley took softened papyrus reeds, the same plant used to make their books, and wrapped them carefully. Historians found evidence. Not in royal tombs. Not in temple carvings. In the quiet corners of ordinary homes. Written between the lines of medical papyrus scrolls. Hidden in plain sight for 3,000 years. Greek women used soft wool. Roman women used wool soaked in specific herbs. Not for comfort. For infection control. They already understood that wounds go wrong. They already understood that dirty cloth kills. Without one single microscope, without one single medical school, they built a hygiene system from instinct and observation alone. That is not primitive. That is brilliant. Here is what history did not write down. Almost all ancient records were written by men. Priests, kings, warriors, merchants, the daily life of women. Their solutions, their knowledge, their survival systems was considered too ordinary to record, too female to matter. So this history lived only in women's mouths, passed from lips to ears, generation to generation, until modern archaeologists started asking the right questions. Ancient India. The subcontinent's women used unstitched cloth folded into careful layers, soft cotton from the fields, washed in river water, dried in sun that killed bacteria without them knowing bacteria existed. Ayurvedic texts from 2,000 years ago mention menstrual hygiene as part of health. One of the earliest medical traditions in human history to acknowledge this as medicine, not shame. Now understand what this actually meant. No running water, no indoor plumbing, no private space. A woman in an ancient settlement woke up, managed her body, washed cloth in a cold river, dried it somewhere discreet, and then worked a full day. Farming, cooking, carrying water, raising children, building shelters. The management of one biological reality was wrapped inside 100 other survival demands, every single month. During the Ice Age, when temperatures dropped far below zero and survival itself was not guaranteed, women's bodies continued their cycle regardless. Animal fur, scraped hide, tightly packed plant fiber, whatever was available, whatever worked. Some anthropologists believe menstrual management may have driven some of the earliest examples of material technology. Women solving a physical problem that no one else was going to solve for them. Almost every ancient culture built a belief system around this. Some called it sacred. Some called it dangerous. Some built separate spaces, menstrual huts, isolation rooms, rest shelters. Modern historians used to read these as punishment. Some archaeologists now argue differently. Some of these spaces were the only places women had power, privacy, and rest. The only rooms in the ancient world that belonged entirely to them. Women shared this knowledge fiercely. Which plants stopped cramping? Which herbs reduced bleeding? Which leaves caused infection? Stay away. Which moss was safe? This was a survival network running parallel to the male world of hunting and warfare. Invisible to history. Absolutely essential to it. Without this knowledge passing successfully from generation to generation, half the human population would have been lost. Medieval Europe. Women used rags, thick folded linen cloth, washed, dried, reused for years. The phrase "on the rag" that people still carelessly use today, it comes from here, from real cloth, from real women, from a real survival system that lasted centuries. These were not disposable. Nothing was disposable. Every resource was precious. The cloth was cleaned and used again and again and again. When colonial powers spread across the world, they did not only take land and resources, they took knowledge systems, indigenous women's practices, herbal treatments, natural materials, community support structures were called primitive, dirty, backwards, and replaced. Some of what was lost took centuries for modern medicine to rediscover. Some of it is still lost, gone with the women who carried it and were never asked to write it down. The first commercial menstrual product appeared in 1888, 138 years ago. Before that, thousands of years of women solving this themselves. The product was invented after the American Civil War, when nurses noticed that certain battlefield bandage materials absorbed far better than cloth, a medical tool built for wounds, adapted by women, because women always adapt what they are given into what they actually need. When companies finally started selling menstrual products, they refused to say what they were for. Advertisements in the 1920s described products in code words: for feminine hygiene, for women's needs. The word period could not appear in American television advertising until 1985. 1985. Ancient Egyptian women wrote about this in medical scrolls. Modern television took longer to say the word out loud. Today, right now, 300 million women around the world still manage their cycles without any commercial product. Not because they chose to, because they cannot afford to, or because products are taxed as luxury items in their countries, or because no one delivers to where they live. The ancient problem is not solved. It has only been solved for some women, in some places, with enough money. The rest are still doing what their ancestors did. Here is the number that puts everything in scale. The average woman menstruates for approximately 40 years. That is 480 months, 2,400 days. Managing this with no product, no running water, no private space, no medical support, for 480 months, while also building civilizations, raising children, farming land, and keeping the human species alive. Every woman who survived ancient life carried this weight. Some historians now argue that the management of menstruation drove some of the first examples of textile technology, the earliest woven cloths, the earliest sewn materials, the earliest use of plant fiber processing, not weapons, not tools for hunting, cloth, because someone needed it, because a woman needed to solve a problem that came back every single month, relentlessly, without mercy, for her entire life. Need is the oldest mother of invention. No pad, no pamper, no cloth. Those 3 words opened this video. Now you know what they actually mean. They mean 50,000 years of women solving an unsolvable problem with whatever the earth offered, passed hand to hand in silence because history did not think it was worth writing down. It was worth everything. Every civilization you have ever read about was built by women carrying this, quietly, without stopping, without being asked.